All right. Hi, everybody. It's Heidi Hope, and it's FAQ Friday, May 15th, 2015. We had a little hiatus over the last couple of weeks because I was teaching the Photographer Rising online workshop, the last one of the year, actually. And I try to devote all of my time and attention to my students there. And I always kind of revamp the curriculum every time I run it. So the last 2 weeks I was focusing on all that, but I am back now for the summer, for the most part, every Friday. So for those of you who are just starting to join us, because our audience has kind of been growing over the past couple of months, so for any new viewers of FAQ Friday, the place to ask or submit a question for FAQ Friday is on our Heidi Hope Photography Facebook wall. So that's facebook.com/Heidi Hope Photography fans. But unfortunately, those don't get seen that much, and I've seen there was a lot of talk about Facebook reach and how that has dwindled. And it's something that at the beginning of this year I wasn't seeing as much, but I'm gradually seeing it decrease and decrease and decrease, especially posts like FAQ Friday. Facebook considers those to be ads, so it's going to screen that and make me pay to show you it. So it's not the best avenue really to use to call for questions anymore. So although I will still be doing a call for questions there, unless you're very vigilant about checking the fan page, you probably won't see it. It's something like 100 out of our 30,000 fans that even see it. But the other place that is now working a lot better is Instagram. So Instagram.com/Heidi_Hope. You can find my Instagram stream. Go follow me there. If you don't have an Instagram account yet, you really should, especially if you're a photographer or you just love photography, or you just want to see behind the scenes of my everyday life. You can follow me over there, and I will put the call for questions there every week. Now, many more people asked questions on Instagram this week than even Facebook, so it just goes to show you how many more people are seeing my posts over there, and I have a much smaller audience. Okay, so those are the two spots that you can submit questions for FAQ Friday. Then I jumble them all up, throw them in a bag, and I pull, and we just go through answer as many as we can. And we'll probably go right to 2:30 today or close to that. Anyways, so it's usually between 15 and 20 minutes. I've got to cut it short, but I'm done with my shoots for the day. Enjoying a little bit of ice cream from Sweet Indulgence. They started carrying ice cream next door. If you're local and you're watching this, they have really good ice cream over there, and they're making waffle cones all day, and the smell of the waffle cones just wafts in here and makes it smell amazing. So I've picked up a really bad ice cream habit, but it's okay because I feel like the baby needs calcium. Okay, so I'm going to reach in the bag and pull our first question. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter yet for photographers, you can find that on the learning site, HeidiHope.com/learning. I'm going to be, and it's another week or two before I send it out, but I'm redoing the whole Photographer Rising site and creating a pretty cool little mommy blog, actually, to document my journey through pregnancy and with my kids, and just sharing some more behind the scenes of my life, you know, all that fun stuff. Okay, so here's our first question. This is from Leanne. Your little clients always smile. And actually, this is kind of I think there's another question in here that's like that. So I'll sort of answer both at the same time. But I had an almost 3-hour first birthday cake smash yesterday because the baby was constantly crying when we put her out on the backdrops. I gave her about 4 breaks, and she was happy playing during the breaks, but once it was time for pictures, she was miserable. She was really attached to her mom, and the session was supposed to be only an hour. Mom said she napped well before the session, ate, and she ate during the session 3 times. Any advice for kids like this would be great. This wasn't the first birthday session that was extra hard. It happens often. And I had another similar question that was like, what do you guys do to always, it looks like your kids are always smiling and happy in the pictures. And somebody else asked, what do you do with an active 2-year-old? How do you get their attention? So really the answer is pretty much the same for all of them. I gotta remember to move the phone out of here. Oh, there we go. So the answer is similar to all of them. Well, one thing that I know that we do a lot of like really ornate sets, and we are always paying a lot of attention to detail. within our sessions. But we do a lot of that planning beforehand. We get everything pretty much ready to go. We try to make the session as like quick and easy and painless as possible. We never want to go over an hour really with young children and babies because it's just too long for them. Like kids 3 and under are not going to last more than an hour, no matter what. Like a lot of parents are like, oh, I want this set and this set and this set and this set, and they want to do all this stuff, but like a baby's only going to last so long. So we try to get everything we can in that period of time. So one thing is keeping session time short, but also really interacting with the baby. So we set a set, but then I'm not concerned about, I kind of forget about it and I'm just trying to connect with the client. So if you ever looked through the back of my camera, you would see that half my images are like off center, and because I'm not even looking through the viewfinder of the camera, I'm actually like doing peekaboo out the side of the camera. And a lot of times I'll put the camera down and interact with the baby or child until they're happy and they forget they're having their picture taken, and then I pick the camera back up. But a happy child or baby is the number one in getting a good picture. Parents they like the pictures where they're staring into the camera too. But for babies and young kids, you really have to get their attention without the camera in front of your face, because as soon as you pick as soon as you pick it up, a lot of times they're like, they don't know what it is. They're distracted by it. They lose their smile. So young children connect person to person. You have to get out from behind the camera as much as possible. Put it down, get them smiling and laughing, then pull it up and take a quick picture. But I'm spending a lot of time outside from behind my camera, and that's my biggest trick. And of course, some kids just have a bad day. Some kids are sick, but if you find that it's happening a lot with your sessions, because I would say that like 90% of sessions or more, an even greater percentage, and we don't really ever even have to do a reshoot. That might happen like once a year where we're like, oh, the kid really was they were not feeling well. They weren't themselves. They were crying the whole time. Let's have them back. And sure enough, mom will go home and be like, oh, they had a fever, or, they didn't realize that they were sick. So in that situation, we would call the session, but that hardly ever happens. So if you find it's happening a lot, think of ways that you can put the camera down, engage, connect with the kids or the baby without the camera, and then once they're super comfortable, pull the camera back in and get the shots that you need. But it's more important to get them like happy and playing in the set first, then bring the camera out. So that was a good question from all 3 of you who asked it in one way or another. Okay, this one is from Kim, and this was actually it. So how do you interact with babies? Okay, so we'll skip that. Let's see this one. Amber asks, how did you get so lucky with an amazing salesperson? Wink, AKA your husband. What are a few of Sean's tips and tricks to sales? Well, I will say one thing, and I'm sure this goes for many businesses, but especially in our business, because what we're doing is really customized to the client. The sales process, if you want to call it that, it kind of begins at the very beginning when we talk to them for the first time. The first phone call that he has with them starts it because we start figuring out what they want. So the key to good sales on the back end is fulfilling exactly what they want from the very beginning. And also getting them to think about what they want to do with the images, because a lot of people are just like, oh, those pictures are so pretty, I want to do that. But they're not really thinking like, what do I want to do with that? And if they end up just having a disc of digitals that sit in a drawer and they don't print them, they don't do anything with them, then eventually that investment, I feel like it just feels not worthwhile to them a lot of time, or maybe they even lose them, or, you think you're going to do something with them and all of a sudden 5 years passes and you still haven't printed them yet, right? So it's really important to us to make sure that clients enjoy their images after the session. So we always make sure we have tangible goods in all of our packages. We really help. It's more, I would say our sales is more of a consultation. It's more to help them figure out what to do with these images, right? So that they can enjoy them forever. Our job is to make sure they get hung on the wall, to make sure they get printed in an album, to make sure they have prints to walk away with. That's what we feel our job is here, because everybody has a digital camera. You can take a million pictures on your cell phone. What are they really hiring us for? In my opinion, they hire us for obviously the quality of work is part of it, but it's really the level of service that we can provide to them. So I think doing that every step of the way, from the very beginning, listening to them, planning in a preset. We do a pre-session consultation. Every single session here is actually 3 appointments. We do a pre-session where we plan together with the parents. Then we have our session, and then we have our sales appointment, which isn't even a sales appointment. It's they view their images, and Sean's really helping them explain our product line and help them narrow down to their favorites, that kind of stuff, figure out what's going to go in what room. That's sort of how we approach it. So I would say that's probably, we'll have to ask him if those are his tips, but those would be my tips. That's what I think works really well for us. Okay, next question is from Bethany, Blossom Bands. And Blossom Bands is, they make a ton of our headbands here that you always see in all the pictures, super cute. So she asked this week, how did you and Kerri Cupcake meet? Boom. This is a really great question. Some of you might know the answer to this too, because I think I've told this story before. It's kind of funny. But Kerri and I ended up meeting through my mom, actually. So we both, before we were next door neighbors, we were right down the road from each other. And we started around the same time. She might have even started her business like a year before me, maybe, but right around the same time. Our businesses were really kind of in their infancy. And I was doing cake smashes at the time, and I was looking for a local business that could do some cakes for us to like customize them to the sets. And so my mom started Facebook stalking Kerri, basically. So she sent her a million messages, and if you know my mom, then she's very persistent. She will get your attention eventually. So she sent her a million messages. So finally one day Kerri walked into my studio, and she's like, oh my gosh, and she's looking at all the pictures. She's like, these are amazing. I didn't even know you guys were here. We were like in a little hole in the wall in our first studio space. And she's like, your mom has been messaging me. So I had to come down the road and see who you were. And so from there, but then we really clicked because our styles were so similar and our work ethic was so similar, and our businesses were really growing together at the same pace. So we've always paired up together, done a lot of promotions and social media stuff, all that good stuff since the very beginning. And we remain really good friends. So, and now we're next door neighbors. So as soon as we found this space, I called Kerri and I was like, they want a restaurant next door. You should come check it out. So here we are, neighbors now, which is awesome for us and for our clients, because it's really great bribery for little kids who come in here that they can go get a cupcake next door when they're done. So, okay, let's pull the next question. The next question is from YuriB81 on Instagram. What apps do you use to post your images on Instagram, and what do you do to post sharp images? Well, one thing I will say is that if you see an image that's really sharp on my Instagram stream, it was probably taken with my big camera. So this guy right here. Because everything else on Instagram is my iPhone, and the iPhone, I mean, probably because I'm a photographer and I'm picky, but I feel like the quality of the iPhone is never going to be super sharp. It's never going to be super high quality. So, so if you're seeing something that looks like fantastic in my stream, usually it will have a watermark on it too, almost always, except just that. I think I just posted the FAQ Friday one today. It didn't have a watermark. But most professional pictures taken with my big camera have the watermark, and then anything that doesn't have a watermark is taken with my iPhone. So that's how you can tell which one's which. And then for my iPhone pictures, the app that I use to edit them and post them is called PicTapGo app. And I think it's by Totally Rad Labs, which they make some actions for photographers and things. But I love them. That's how I do all my photo editing. And I really edit photos within my Instagram stream so that they look cohesive. I want them to go together, because I know when people look at an Instagram stream, it's almost like looking at a little portfolio there. And although I don't post a ton of my business work on there, I'm really posting more. It's more of a personal stream for me. I still want it to all reflect my brand, because it's still kind of like a mashup of everything in my life. That's why I love Instagram. It's like one place. I'm redoing my whole Photographer Rising blog, but part of me is like, I just want to like make Instagram my blog, because it's just so easy to just put everything in one place. It's so hard with all these different social media channels, right, to keep up with everything. But that's what I use. So PicTapGo app is what it's called. Okay. So Joanne asks, good morning, Heidi. My question is, where did you get the reindeer you used for the picture with your girls? Mariella loves reindeer. Thank you. So the reindeer I ended up buying on Amazon. I did a lot of research. I think the company's called Henson or Hanson. It was a while ago it was almost a year ago that I bought it. They're not cheap, I will tell you that. So we bought it as like an investment for the studio so we can use it every fall for Christmas pictures. So I'm sure you'll see it in a lot of Christmas cards this year. They're actually these huge, like life-size stuffed animals that are used in like children's museums and things like that, or educational purposes. So that's why it was so realistic. Many people thought it was real in the photo, but it was a giant stuffed animal. We also used him for Halloween. He was Sven because I was Anna and Sean was Kristoff, and the girls were both Elsas, 2 Elsas we had. They both had to be Elsa. And so our reindeer was also made an appearance on Halloween at our house too. He was a big hit in the neighborhood. But yeah, we just found him on Amazon because first he's really expensive, but then the other stores that I found that sold it was going to be like $300 in shipping because it's so big and heavy, where Amazon, the free shipping actually saved us a lot of money. So, okay, let's pull one more. Let's do one more for today. A good one. If it's a short one, maybe 2. Okay, this one comes from D Gagny 12380. You can tell which ones are Instagram names. What works best for you to keep a 2-year-old interested or to stay still for a few shots and smile? It's the toughest age. So I did kind of answer this, so I will pull another one. But just to briefly touch on it, for 2-year-olds especially, so I think 1.5 to 2.5, like 15 months or so, up to 2.5, is the hardest age, in my opinion, to photograph. But they've kind of become my favorite because I just think they're funny. But it's play. You have to play and engage them, and again, put the camera aside, like get them interacting with you. Once they're really interested in you, then you can pull the camera out. But you just make them forget they're having their picture taken. I definitely don't try to put a 2-year-old in front of a background. Forget about it, because they're just not going to stay there no matter what. So I really I love outdoors for that age. I like more lifestyle type stuff in the studio where I'm not trying to pose them somewhere, because they just want to do the opposite of whatever you say. So make it a game, make it really fun, make them forget that they're having their picture taken, and try to entice them through toys and things that will be silly and make them laugh. Okay, but it's challenging and it's a lot of energy. I always joke that if you photograph babies, if you're taking pictures like 1, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, it's like being a preschool teacher or a camp counselor. It really is. Okay, we're gonna pull one more. This is officially it. Okay, this question is from Mommin Seriously. I'm an art teacher, mom of 3, and recently have been contemplating a career change. How did you make the leap from teacher to photographer? And was it a gradual career change? Great question. It was it was sort of gradual, but so I actually started my business when I was on maternity leave from teaching. So I was a high school art and photography teacher. I was already taking some pictures on the side when I was a teacher. Then I took maternity leave with my daughter, and I kind of had a feeling I wasn't going to go back to teaching. I had actually been taking some graphic design classes at Rhode Island School of Design, RISD, in their evening program. So I was thinking maybe I would get into graphic design, but it's really hard. I had already invested so much into my teaching career between my degrees in art education, and then I spent the years student teaching, substitute teaching, then I taught for 6 years. So I had invested so much. So I was like, oh, do I really want to start at the bottom of a career, like start as an entry-level graphic designer or get another degree? So I was totally in limbo. But I will tell you, I never thought I wanted to be a photographer, nor did I ever. It wasn't really on my radar as a career, as a profession. So I had my daughter, and like many other photographers I love taking pictures of her. I kind of fell in love with the newborn photography genre, which was really just up and coming, the style that's really popular now, just did not exist 6 years ago. So, or it was like in its infancy. So when I started taking pictures in that style, I immediately had business that I was not prepared for. I was not prepared to be a business owner. I was doing it for extra grocery money. And then things moved really quickly from there. Like I very quickly had to figure out how to be a business owner. So I pretty much leaped in, and then struggled a lot for the first few years with just time management and business management. And Sean came over a little over a year in, and then to help me manage the business. But we learned a lot of lessons the hard way. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching other photographers now, especially the business side of things, because of course the photography is fun. We all love the photography. That's why we're in this. We're all artists and creatives. But once you decide to start charging money for it, you make it a business. And when you make it a business, well, in my case, and in many cases that I've seen, a lot of the fun goes away, because being a business owner can be very stressful and demanding. And you kind of got into it for fun and for the love of it. And now all of a sudden you have all these other things that you never anticipated. So that's why I developed Photographer Rising, the online workshop. That is the heart of that, is to like help other people get that framework when they're ready, when you decide that you're ready, which is just when you're ready to make that leap, that transition. Before you do, getting that whole business framework can save you years of trouble, you know? And even for people, there are people who have taken that have been in business 10 or 15 years. And even for them, they're like, oh, this was really good to like restructure things and take a look at some of this stuff again, and to kind of refine my business to make it fit my life better and to be more profitable. And we all need that work-life balance. And I think every entrepreneur struggles with balancing those things. And I think the only way to really do it is to sit down and make a plan for your business to make it support the life that you love, the life that you want to have. So that's why I'm so passionate about teaching and connecting with you guys every Friday. So thank you guys all for joining me this Friday for FAQ Friday. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, don't forget to head on over to Instagram and follow me there, instagram.com/Heidi_hope. And then you can do Facebook too, but you'll never see my posts anyways. And sign up for our newsletter if you haven't yet, so you can be one of the first to visit my whole new website, mommy blog thing that I'm working on, you know, in all my free time. So have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for the great questions. If your question didn't get answered this week, please resubmit it next week. And I pull out anything that's recently been answered, and I try to make sure I get to everybody week by week. Okay? So have a good one. We'll see you next week. Bye.